How to reduce our anxiety and get more done by focusing on the long term. A lot of us with ADHD tend to be very impulsive, very anxious, very in the moment. And we tend to load everything going on in our lives onto right now. And because of time blindness, we don't have as good of a control over, in our own mind and in our own body, kind of thinking about how things will land over time, right? So I might have something next week, later today. Everything feels now. So it's hard sometimes to focus on what I have to do right now if I'm thinking about the thing later today, if I'm thinking about the meeting tomorrow, if I'm thinking, it all kind of collapses on us and feels like it's all now. So that is the root of a lot of the anxiety. I've been talking to a lot of clients lately about this exact thing and working through it for myself. And what I find is that the more we can use external visuals, so whether it's a whiteboard, a notebook, a calendar, things that can show us visually how all these things are going to lay over time, it can reduce the amount of anxiety and urgency we feel in the moment, which will calm our nervous system and actually allow us to focus on the thing now, right? So one of the biggest changes that have had the biggest impact in my life the last 6 years, is shifting my perception to thinking more long term. So as we already talked about now, the idea that everything seems urgent and now means we're not typically wired to be thinking about a year, 2 years, 3 years. It can almost feel like that doesn't exist. It's so far away that our mind doesn't even think about that because there's so much right now. Or I work with a lot of salespeople who are thinking about this month, this quarter. And then they're always feeling behind because they didn't plan the prospecting or planting the seeds for next quarter or next year, right? So then they're always scrambling. And because we haven't planned longer term, we're forced in the moment to be in crisis mode. And there's almost this subconscious thing that we're wired. We kind of thrive on it because we tend to perform better in crisis mode, but we don't actually like it. We don't enjoy it, right? It's part of our wiring from a young age of, if I wait to the last minute, I'll kick into high gear and I'll get it done. So subconsciously, we're kind of pushing it to the end because it'll in some ways be easier for us, even though when we're going through it, it kind of sucks, right? So the way to shift this is we practice thinking about, is that a now? Is that a next week? Is that a next month? Is that a next year? And that can feel uncomfortable and foreign in the beginning because we're so wired that everything feels now urgent. How could I put that aside till next month? It's important. How could I wait till next year? But I want it now. That starts just piling on the bricks and it makes our backpack so heavy we can't even move, right? So what we want to do is keep thinking, okay, is that now? Is that next week? Is that next month? Is that next year, right? So I am now running my own business that is becoming quite successful and has a lot of potential for growth. I wanted to build my own company for 10 years. I built my own company twice and had mixed success, but ultimately they didn't go where I wanted them to go. I stopped, I reset, I got salary jobs for big public companies. All that time thinking, okay, I'm gonna shift from what I wanna do today to what I wanna do in a year or 2 years or 5 years, right? So 5 years ago, I was saying, I want my own business, but I want it like this, and I want it to operate like this, and I want to be able to function in it like this, and I'm not there right now. So 5 years ago, I was saying, okay, what are the steps I need to take in the next 6 months and the next year and the next 2 years to start setting me up for where I want to be in 5 years. And now that I'm kind of going through these 5-year cycles, now the last 5, now I'm thinking the next 5 years. Now, okay, I've got a business, it's going great, I've got clients. instead of what does next month or next 6 months look like only, I do think about that, but what's the 5 years? And that kind of can help us slow down and relax, which paradoxically helps us get more done. Because now our biggest challenge with ADHD is the overload, too many ideas, too many things. And then we don't actually execute and follow through on them. So what good are all those ideas, right? So even though it might feel like we're doing a lot less right now in the moment, when we start looking at it visually or creating some structure and building that executive function planning muscle where we can think long term, we can start seeing how the bricks are going to build, and we don't carry them with us. Start laying them down, starts building a foundation that you can start building on, that you can start growing on. But it takes us slowing down, starting to think long term, and create some visuals on what does this look like month 1, month 2? What does this look like year 1, year 2? What does this look like today, tomorrow, Friday, right? How do I space things out so that in the moment, like right now as I'm recording this video, I feel like I have space, I have room, because I don't need to think about editing and I don't need to think about complex stuff, and I'm just here making this one video. And I know that if I do that, and I do it again, 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 over time, in 6 months, a year, 2 years, I will start having a library of content. I will have experience. I will be better at speaking. I will have all these skills. I will have this trail of activity that starts building and compounding and becomes exponential over time, right? So today I would encourage you, and this week, think about what are the things you could delay, put off till next week, next month. What are the things that matter? And what would you do anything different if you shifted to really thinking, okay, where do I want to be in 6 months to a year? What could I do this week that's going to be setting me up for a longer time horizon? And then hopefully that should reduce some of the anxiety and allow you the space and the calm to actually think clearly and execute what's right in front of you. All right, I hope this was helpful. Make sure to like and subscribe and all the YouTube jargon, and I will see you next time.